Hello, happy Friday. Here is your screencast for our week on measurement. This is Erin here. We spent about a week working with area and scale drawings, and as you'll see in all the materials, I want to put out there that some of the materials you'll view from this week are at a kind of a lower level mathematically, one would say. You can beef it up, I'm sure, but we really kind of stuck with simple stuff this year. So to culminate the week, we wanted to finish with a lab, and we are working with Google Maps to make measurements and sheets to create calculators that will calculate area and we'll create a calculator for cost, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So these are the directions which I've shared with you, and what the students are going to search in Google Maps is Diamond Nation, New Jersey, and that is a baseball and softball training facility located in New Jersey. If you go to Google Maps, you can just Google Diamond Nation, New Jersey, and zoom in, and you want to be in satellite view so you can view the fields. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fields. These 4 are the same size, so we'll have the same dimensions, and these 2 are the same size, so we'll have the same dimensions. So we really gave kids freedom for how they wanted to find the area, the total area of all of these fields combined. We didn't tell them that these 4 were congruent and that these 2 were congruent, but a lot of them figured that out once they started making measurements and just by looking at the picture. We did share with them a printout of this picture I will show you, which is the same thing I just had up on my screen, but we marked off where you might want to make your measurements. So we split it up into quarter circles and 3 rectangles for each field. Now, I had a student point out to me that, this rectangle could just be one big rectangle. And I was like, oh yeah, great, do that. So a lot of kids just did different things. The whole goal here is to find the total area and then to multiply that total area by 475 for the price per square foot of the field turf to find the total cost to replace the fields. This is the first time we did this lab assignment. So I'm going to go over back to Google Maps, and what I wanted to share with you today is how you can take measurements on Google Maps. And so what you do is, let's say I wanted to find the radius of that quarter circle here in that small left field. So we're kind of estimating right around there. So this is what they're looking at on the screen, and we're using this picture I just showed you. I'll go back, and this is the measurement that I'm taking right now. So it looks a little different, it's tilted a different way. But so the students have this in front of them for their plan, and they can record their measurements on here if they like, but they're actually making their measurements here in Google Maps. So back to this little quarter circle here. I'm going to click right about where I think the center of the circle would be. Actually, I'm going to right click, and this dialog box comes up. And you want to go all the way down to measure distance. And so we have our starting point. See, now sometimes it's hard because it should give you a point. Get rid of this. It can be a little weird. I'm going to try again. So I want to try to make a point right here where I am assuming the center of this whole circle will be, and I'm only going to find the area of a quarter of that. So I right click here, go to measure distance. Great. It should put a point, your starting point, and you can drag and drop it and move it. And that's going to be the starting point of your measurement. And then you want to take your mouse over to where you want the end point of your measurement to be and click, and it'll create a line with the measurement for you. And you can move that and adjust it as needed, and I'm going to. And so I'm going to use, I'm going to use 85 feet as my measurement here. And we tell students this is just an estimate. Your numbers are going to be slightly off. But what was interesting is that the kids who did this right all got around the same final answer. So that was cool. So then what I had them do is, okay, you record this measurement. Now you can find the area of that quarter circle. And I'll share with you one of the sheets my students did And so what he did was he made a table for one of the diamonds, and he just called them Big Baseball Diamond 1, Big Baseball Diamond 2, Big Baseball Diamond 3, and 4, and then the two small ones. And he did realize that the dimensions were the same. So for the quarter circle, he had a radius of 56.5 feet. He recorded his measurements for the length and width of the rectangles, put area formulas in here, which we've done earlier in the week, and a total formula down here. And he cut and pasted that for our 4 rectangles. And then he did the same thing for the small rectangles. If I go over, you can see that he got the total area of all the diamonds using, you know, just equals plus, 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 adding the different cells he needed to. And then his cost for replacing the field turf was the total area times $4.75. And he got a little over 2 million, and that was the number that most of our students got, was a little over $2 million to replace the field turf. One thing that you might see is that the numbers that students get for their dimensions can vary a lot. Even I was showing you in my example here, my radius that I just did really quickly is way off from his. But the thing is, there's so many measurements they're taking, and there is quite a range of room for error, that because you have a large group of students taking so many measurements, sometimes erring too big, sometimes erring too small, for some reason it ended up to work out where they all got around $2 million. I'm curious to see what it would be like in another class. I only had one class to use as, you know, my example. But this was really just kind of a starting point for us. We wanted to culminate the week with kind of bringing in the cost of something per square footage and also the Google area. And so maybe you have something or some ideas of ways we can streamline this and make it more exact, or make it more interesting, or you make it more involved. So we'd be curious to know about that. So that's our screencast for the week. I have posted everything, so you'll find all the materials for the week in 2 posts in the folder under measurement, and Dave will be sending out an email and posting an assignment at some point this afternoon. Hope you have a great day. See you next week.